Hey guys, happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday. I know that because I just do. I'm so glad you guys are here. For those of you that do not know me, I'm Brianna Beers, Bree to my friends, and I own Lipa Beers Associates. We help small businesses and individuals with tax prep and tax planning. Tax planning is our jam because it's where we strategize with our clients to minimize their annual tax burden and keep that extra cash to invest it either back into their businesses or into themselves. So that's where we get a lot of satisfaction and gratification in helping our clients accomplish those goals. You could be watching this video in a variety of places, but if it's not in our awesome Facebook community called Money, Taxes, and Finances, and you're a business owner, you should definitely hop on over and join that group. It's an amazing community, super supportive, and just full of awesome business owners that are probably just like you. So those of you that are new to our Money, Taxes, and Finance group, Wednesday's live training started when COVID-19 changed our environment, right? And many of us as business owners were forced to pivot our businesses in various ways. So those pivots and decisions aren't always financial in essence, but they do or will affect your financials and your financial situation at some point. So in the past few weeks, we've chatted about working remotely, about running your team remotely. Last week, we talked about selling in this environment. So all things that aren't financial by, to the naked eye, right? It's not, here's your P&L, here's your tax deductions. But they are things, they are topics that when you improve them, you will improve your financial situation. So today I'm addressing those of you who are in the group. I took a poll and there was a number of you who expressed concerns with time management and maximizing your productivity in this environment. So some of these tips might be quarantine specific, but honestly, guys, most of them are useful in any environment. And I wanted to make sure that I presented things that will be helpful now, not only now, but in the future when we might be facing a different environment. So you guys, when COVID-19 first started, most of us had to start working remotely, which looks the same for some of us, right? Some of us always work at home, but some of us don't, right? Some of us are used to having an office that we commute to, and now we are doing all of our work from home. Those of us that worked from home, our environment still might look different because we might have just been the only ones home before, right? Now we might have spouses home and kids and we're homeschooling. And our environment, although our work environment is the same, we're working at home in our home office, the environment around us has changed. The interruptions are more and different. And we are, our job might look different. And so that's adding complexity to the situation, right? So for you and for you guys out there and for me as well. So let me start with me. So I am finding that now that I'm working at home, so I usually have an office to go to. I usually pre-quarantine went to the office during tax season, 12 to 15 hours, but at the office during non-tax season, 8 to 10. Go to the office, do work there, come home, and my commute home was my off switch, right? Unless there was something that I knew I had to deal with that afternoon, that commute home is what separated my work day from my non-work day, right? Well, now that I'm working at home and I'm home all the time. So there is no off switch. So for me, I've been finding that I am working a lot more than I want to be. Caveat that there is a lot more to do right now. I've never worked so hard in my life, and this comes from someone who has a number of tax seasons under her belt. But the last 4 to 6 weeks working in my business and on my business in the capacity that I have has been a new challenge with new hours and craziness. But for me, I find myself working, sitting down here in the basement. I'm in the basement, if you can't tell by how dark it is. I need to probably go back to a lighter background, right? But I find myself down here some nights till 7, 8, 9, 9:30, 10. You guys, I go to bed at 9. Like that's my normal bedtime. So when I find myself down here working still at 10 o'clock, it's like, who is this? But because I don't have that trigger, that event of commuting home to turn off my work day compared to my non-work day, it's missing. Okay. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about today is how do we turn that off, right? That said, because I now have trained myself that I have all this time to work, I find myself not being as productive with my time. I find myself falling into bad habits of, jumping from topic or from task to task, finding myself doing non-urgent or non-important tasks when there's important things that need to be dealt with. Just all those sorts of things. So I just want to kind of share some of my struggles that I'm working to address in hopes that some of them you're like, yep, that's me too. That's me too. Things I am fortunate not to be burdened with, but I know a lot of you out there is balancing your work with your homeschool teaching job, right? I am fortunate enough, my kids are 10 and 11, so they are mostly self-driven. I don't know the word I'm looking for. They're able to do most of their work on their own, and what they're not able to do, my husband's actually working a lot less than I am right now, so he's able to step into that role, which is fantastic. Another thing I know that we are getting that is decreasing our number of productive hours, maybe, or work hours, is being home. We see all the things in our house that need to be attended to, right? We see the laundry that needs to be done. We see the stairs that need to be vacuumed. We see the cupboards that need to be organized. All these things that now that we're home, we've told ourselves, hey, I'm home, I have time to do this. You do, but you have to remember that you do have to make sure you're still putting in the hours for your work, right? And then the other thing that we are facing that might not have been an issue before is adjusted work times, because maybe you have little ones and you and your spouse have to share. I know one of my, Jamie Troll, who I talk about all the time in here, I know she was in a spot where, she would have the morning where she was with the kids and her husband was, in the office getting his work done for like a 4-hour time span. I don't really exactly remember how long, but, he had 4 hours of getting to the grind work time allocated. So he was over there. She was keeping the kids and all the responsibilities out of his hair. And then they'd have lunch and then they'd swap. And she'd have the afternoon with 4 hours of unbothered, kid-free, your choice, hours. So for some of us, it's adjusting to that. It's adjusting to that change. So I have 6 tips for you guys today. A lot of them kind of go together. So the first thing, you guys, and this is something I've done, always been a good habit of mine, is to set a schedule. Okay. So with all the other things we have going on, as we're working from home right now, like we said, with the laundry that's there, the housework, the organization that needs to be done, all of those things, carving out time to work in or on your business is important. Okay. So whether you use a planner or a Google Calendar or a piece of paper to schedule out your day, don't wing it. Okay. Don't wake up in the morning and be like, okay, here's the 4 things I need to do, I'm just going to get them done. No, schedule them, put them into your day, because you don't want to get to the point where the cleaning, the dishes, the homeschooling, and all the other things take over your entire day without getting some work in or on your business done. Okay. It is so important to make sure that you're still focusing on your business and whatever your business goals are. And I'm going to come back around to those goals and everything in a minute. All right. So I said work before other stuff when possible, the big when possible. Because like I said, I recognize that there are some of you out there that are like job kid sharing, right? So your work time isn't till the afternoon. So obviously this work before other stuff doesn't apply to you. But what I mean is if you have the freedom to work during your day whenever, you don't have time constraints, okay? Get your work done at the beginning of the day. Not only is for most of us that our most productive time, but if you're up before the kids, it's going to be the best time to be the most productive, right? With the less distractions, and you're not getting sucked into the housework, the chores, the social media, the schoolwork, all those things. So if possible, get your work done before all the other things you want to tackle. Okay. And even if your work day doesn't start at the beginning of your entire day, right? Maybe you're doing the job share, kid share thing that we were talking about, and your work day is in the afternoon. Still make sure that the beginning of your work day is productive. And I'm going to tell you how to do that in just a minute. But an example, okay, maybe you're in charge, like I said, of the kids in school in the morning while your spouse has some focus time and yours is in the afternoon. Great. Make sure you utilize those full 4 hours, however much time you have on your work. Make sure you're utilizing that time and maximizing your productivity. Okay. And then we're going to and again, we circle back around to that having a schedule. Okay. Know how you're going to spend those precious work hours and making the most of them. Don't get to the point where your 4 hours or your allocated work time is started and you're like, I don't know what to do first. And you spend an hour of it planning your time, right? So use something else, carve out other time to set that schedule. Is it the night before when you're going to bed? Is it first thing when you wake up before the kids, get out of bed? Whatever it is, set aside 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long it takes you to outline your goals for your work today. That brings me to number 3. Plan to complete 3 needle moving activities before anything else by scheduling. All right. So what is a needle moving activity? Right? So it's an activity that moves you towards your current career or business goal. So if you don't know what that is, or you don't know what those are, next week, we're going to talk about goal setting. We're going to talk about financial goal setting, but it applies to any kind of goal setting. So if you know that your goal is you want to make $50,000 in revenue, right? And you know that part of that is making sales calls, right? That is a needle moving activity. Then make sure that is one of those 3 needle moving activities you do at the beginning of your workday. These needle moving activities, I'm sure there's a better name for it, but these are the activities that if these are the only 3 things you get done in your workday, okay, you are going to be able to end your workday feeling accomplished, feeling like you got something done, feeling like you made some headway. I'll tell you what these are not. Okay, they are not cleaning out your inbox. They're not checking your voicemails, responding to social media. Unless you have a very specific goal that somehow applies, that these things apply, that's not it. I've been there. Yesterday, you guys, I spent 4 hours of my day, not my morning, but 4 hours in the afternoon, cleaning out my inbox, responding to emails. And those are the days when I'm doing all the reactive work, right? All the answering emails, answering voicemails. Those are the days that I end my workday going, what did I do today? I know I was busy from the time I started working till I end, but I don't feel like I accomplished anything. And those days are deflating. They happen and they're going to happen. I get that. If you're a business owner, those days are going to happen. Okay. But do everything in your power to minimize how many of those unproductive feeling days you have. All right. So what that comes down to is needle moving activities are things that get you towards your goal. So that's going to be making sales calls. It might be creating content, completing revenue generating tasks. So in my business, that's completing tax returns. All right. Not always the greatest thing to do, but it's what's generating revenue. And it's when I get done with the day, if I reviewed 12 tax returns today, I feel accomplished. I feel like I moved the needle. All right. So complete 3 needle moving activities before anything else. So number 4 is batch work when possible. So I actually have a whole podcast on batch working. If you're unfamiliar, this is a fantastic tool for maximizing your productivity. And I don't want to get into it too much here because it's a topic all its own. But if you would be interested in doing a live on batch working, let me know. Because it is something that has saved hours of time in my business and in my life. But in its simplest form, you guys, it's completing all of your similar work at the same time. So if you have a podcast, right, instead of recording 1 podcast each week, you might record 5 or 6 podcasts in one day. Okay, that's batch working. Same goes for outlining, podcasts or creating content or writing or doing trainings, creating trainings. Okay, you can do this on a daily scale as well. So you can batch work checking your email. For me, I check my email and my voicemails both twice a day. That's it. Okay, I'm not in my email every hour getting caught up and checking it. No, because then what I'm doing is I'm doing reactive work. Okay, I'm doing work for other people instead of doing proactive work, moving my needle, doing things toward my goal. And I do the same thing with social media. Okay. So for me, I batch work email, I batch work voicemails, and I batch work social media into twice a day. I check those things twice a day because otherwise those are the things I know I get consumed in and I lose myself and I lose my whole day into those things. Okay. So I do those twice a day and I do them in a time where they have an end break. So in the morning, I might do one of these at 11 when I know I have a workout at 12. So I know I have a hard stop time. Same with the afternoon. I'll do them right before something is on the agenda. So I'm not lost I don't lose 3 hours checking social media. That's probably my biggest tip for you guys. But I got 2 more to go through. So number 5 is turn off notifications. This seems so simple to some people, but you guys, I get guilty of it too. I'm talking email, social media, your phone. I get to the point every couple months where this thing becomes such a distraction that I leave it on the other side of the room on silent. Okay. Because I have it set to do not disturb from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So all my apps are off except for text messages. And well, even now I shouldn't even have text messages on because I'm home. Anyone who needs to text or call me that's important is here. But turn those off. Because what I've read, you guys, is that the average attention span for a human is less than 1 minute. Okay, our average is less than a minute. All right, it's because we're always distracted by all these things, right? It's the notifications, it's the social media, it's the email dinging. All right, control what you can. All right, you may not be able to control the kids coming down, with injuries, or the phone call from the client that is urgent that you've been trying to get a hold of for a week, right? But control what you can. All right. So turn off some of those notifications. And the last tip I have for you guys for time management and maximizing productivity is to set a focus timer. So for me, I actually did this for 2 reasons. One, when you know that there's a set amount of time that you have to focus, and then at the end you're rewarded with whatever it is, and I'll talk about that in a minute, you get hyper focused and you just get so much more done in that amount of time. I also I'm actually doing it more often right now, because I'm not moving enough, because I'm not getting up to go to the copier, and I'm not getting up to go talk to my team, and getting up. Well, I still get up to go to the bathroom 1,000 times a day, but that's it. Because I'm getting up and moving a lot less than I was when I was at the office, I have to set this timer so that I get up and move my body. So I got to the point where I'm using an old kitchen timer. It's still at my office. I haven't picked it up, but I had gotten to that point because I'm using a phone app now. It's called Focus Keeper. I love it. It's great. But I was using it and then getting to the point where I turn off my Focus Keeper and then get on social media on my phone or something. So I had to go to an old kitchen timer. So I'm fine now. I go in, just like any of us, I kind of go ups and downs where I'm controlling my productivity and I'm controlling my distractions, and other times where I'm not. Right now I'm in a good place. My Focus Keeper app, I set it for an hour, and at that hour it goes off, and then I have a 2-minute break where I get up and I move, and I turn on some music and I dance it out and I stretch and I just move my body. So 2 things. 1, it keeps me hyper focused for that hour, and then 2, it gets me up and moving. So it's like 2 birds, 1 stone. And again, the key is to keep you focused and keep your focus times, you guys, less than an hour. Okay. Anything more than an hour and you lose the drive of that break coming up. Okay. And for those of you starting beginning, I advise starting with 20 to 30 minutes. Followed by like a 5-minute break, and a 60 minutes of focus followed by a 10-minute break. I told you I do mine a little differently, but that's what I would suggest. So there are times even now where I have to go to that 20 to 30-minute break or focus because an hour is too much, and it changes by day. So those are my 6 tips for you guys. I'm going to go over them real quick again. So number 6 was the one we just talked about. It's setting a timer. Setting a focus timer. Number 5 was turn off notifications. Number 4 was batch work when possible. Number 3 is plan to complete 3 needle moving activities before anything else in your workday. Number 2, I don't know why I know I went backwards, but just bear with me. 2 is get your work done before other stuff when possible. And number 1 is set a schedule. All right, so those are my 6 tips for you guys. Thank you for being here. I created a workshop for those of you out there who prepare your own tax returns. There is a bonus training from last week on my Lipa Beers and Associates page called the 3 biggest mistakes made when filing your tax return. So if you're curious, go watch that. It's a little sneak peek. But the workshop is called DIY Tax Prep, an A to Z guide to avoiding an audit and keeping more money in your pocket. Okay, so this workshop is, you guys, for those of you who don't need to or can't pay for a professional to prepare and file your personal tax return right now. I know that there are a lot of you out there that maybe don't need a CPA or a tax professional to help you, or maybe you really do want one, you just aren't there financially. This workshop is going to be perfect for you guys. All right. Maybe it's because your return is so simple that there's nothing you really think a tax preparer could do for you. Come join, come check out this workshop because this will give you tips and tricks. I'll talk about those in just a second. Or if you've, like I said, if you've ever considered the benefits of having a tax advisor, but it's just not quite in the budget. So if you're any of these three people, this workshop is probably going to be a really good fit for you guys. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop. It's a week from today, May 13th, and there's going to be a live Q&A at the end, you guys. And I'm going to share my CPA secrets that are going to help you become more confident with your personal tax prep. Yeah, your tax return prep. So the proven process is going to help you improve accuracy, so you minimize your chances for an audit. You're going to maximize your tax refund, because I don't know how many of you guys are out there that are like, I feel like I could be getting more money back, but I don't know how. We're going to talk about that. And it's going to save you time. Okay. I have so many people that just complain about how much time preparing their own tax return sucks from them. So I'll give you some tips on how to minimize the time you're spending on it. Okay. So if you're interested in learning more, I'm going to drop the link into the comments, and this is just going to give you all the details about it. And I am, for you guys that are watching this in my Money, Tax, and Finance group, or if you follow my YouTube channel, wherever you're watching this video right now, there's a $50 off registration fee if you use the link VIP DIY Tax Prep, $50 off. This is going to be awesome. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I'm able to help serve a clientele out there who normally I can't serve. As a tax preparer, I'm usually, I'm advising you and I'm helping my clients. And this is a chance for me to give my services and help give my knowledge and my secrets and my tips to those of you that may not normally use a tax advisor. So I'm crazy excited. Please, please check it out. Even if this doesn't apply to you, maybe you're a client of mine, maybe you have a preparer, check it out, because there's somebody that this can help. And you guys, this was not created as a revenue stream for my business. It was created because I knew there was a need for it. I know there's a need for you guys to get this into your hands and help you guys with your tax prep. So that's what it's for. If you guys have questions right now, actually, jump on over to my Lippa Beers and Associates page, because I am going over all the Q&As about my workshop. So I hope to see you guys there in a few minutes. Otherwise, have a fantastic day.